Hey guys, Chris here. I want to do a video on caffeine again. I'm cutting out, so I didn't post, but I did 6 months in the end. And the last 3 weeks to 4 weeks, I've actually been back on coffee and recently stopped again. So yeah, this is just a video on saying that the benefits after 6 months were building off on the last video. Yeah, a lot more focus in the moment and really just not craving it at all. But you know, the question comes, well, how did I get back on it? And I think is being aware of trigger points. So I remember I was in a place where when I used to be there, and we're talking about cities now, more so, the need for drinking caffeine. I think when I'm with my family as well, there tends to be drinking coffee because they drink it, and there's like a bond, I think, with family, and then also, yeah, and it's that kind of escape, you know, because you're with your family, maybe you feel a bit triggered or spaced out, or you know, things are coming up, and then the coffee is that way of escaping. You know, the coffee is the drug that you crave. So this is what got me back on it, but I just wanted to share that, you know, it's part of the journey that things are not as straightforward, and I think getting to 3 to 6 months is so important, and I really feel like I could go on that roll again, kind of like drinking, quitting alcohol, or anything. I think when you've gone that far, you've gone 6 months with no caffeine, you could easily do it again. And the challenges, I think, for me is, like I said, I think cities, I'm in London at the moment, I've come back to London, big drinking coffee here, working hard. You know, the other day I drank 2 coffees, and what I noticed is I got to severe like anxiety. And I've never normally drink more than 1, but it was interesting observing what I'm like on 2 and what was leading me to that second one. Almost like just wanting to feel something, some adrenaline. And I think this comes a lot to trauma and this need to be in this state of anxiety. I think that is what's creating this coffee, people who want to quit coffee but they stay on it. You know, you create your own suffering, you create your own you know, kind of like PTSD, anxiety symptoms, which coffee is doing. You know, I really think that coffee and other forms of caffeine are not supposed to be consumed regularly. One good tip to come off caffeine as well is cacao, which is a different energy, is a lot more of a heart opening yin kind of energy rather than the yang. Yeah, got to get things done, get into a hyper state of alert. And coffee is the, you know, now I've come off it, I can see the negatives. You know, I don't get as much work done. I am just in this state, this dopamine rush. It gives you the illusion of getting work done, of, okay, I've drank coffee, I've got this dopamine rush for 2 hours, I feel really good, I'm doing some things like checking emails and it feels good, but then not really actually being that productive. There is something about being off all stimulants or drugs, and I've seen some messages on my last video about chocolate and Coca-Cola. So in this time I've drank a bit of Coca-Cola as well and chocolate, and it's just because you're in this caffeine. Once you have one, you can't stop, and it's like you get a free pass. You have a coffee, you have a Coke, you have a bit of chocolate, you can just easily go back into them. But I think when you're very strict, I think cacao or tea ceremonies, matcha ceremonies, you know, if they're done in a ceremony setting and it's a time aside, I think is important to do. But otherwise, yeah, no. And if anything, try and avoid these, you know, that other ceremonies you can do. You know, I was at a drum ceremony last night, in the woods and with a fire, and you know, people are smoking weed, and it's almost like, you know, you've got a fire, you've got music, you've got drums. I think I had a rattle. People drumming, people singing. I mean, you don't need anything else. Like, that is something to get you in the present moment. But yeah, people need to just smoke weed, you know, to get into that altered state. But maybe it enhances something. But you know, this is what you want to go for, is just being, you know, accepting the present moment. You know, you could be really stressed, and I realized that the more stressed I've been, the more fear about things, you know, the coffee becomes an escape. It becomes something to look forward to. It's on this roller coaster, like with stimulants, that you feel good when you're on it, but when you're not on it, you don't feel as good, or you know, it lasts a certain amount of time. You know, you have the coffee, an hour, 2 hours after, you maybe feel good, but there is the crash. There's the problem sleeping as well. The sleep is something that I neglected. But when I drank the coffee again, what happened was, for 15 minutes nothing happened. You know, it's almost like that's the time it takes for the caffeine to hit your system, 10 minutes. So this illusion as well, I think when you drink the coffee, you straight away you feel good, but it's because you know you're getting that stimulant in your system, but it's not actually hitting you. That's why sometimes drinking it before feels good, but once the caffeine hits your system 20 minutes later, you don't have the anxiety. But you know, the sipping it, there's some books that I've written on this, that you know, that is giving the relief. You know, that is because you're getting the thing that you're addicted to, and it's an addiction. And you know, why did I get back on it? Yeah, it was a bit of, I just felt like I needed something, but I've been at those times numerous times over the 6 months, and that time passes. So this is all a test of patience. And I drank it again I think for the first day I drank it, I was like, I'm not drinking this again. But the next day I go back into it, and that's where the addiction starts. It's like you drink it, and then by the end of the day you're like, okay, I'm not doing this again. But then you get back into it, because it's giving you something. It's like allowing you to feel alive in a certain way, which makes it sound like it's great, but you know, this is because you're addicted to feeling anxiety, to feeling fear, to stress, to not sleeping well, to worrying about things. But there is a better life, you know, and you just have to come off these things. So that was the video I wanted to do. So whatever you're up to, drop a comment below. I've seen people on the last video got to like 40 days and a month and all of these sort of things. I think when you get to 3 months, that is the big accomplishment. So good luck on the journey, and I've just sort of started coming off it again, and I will update you as I go along again with other things that I learned. So I will see you in the upcoming video.